Is there music?
Bree, what is happening?
Oh my god, make it stop!
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Remember, I was like, oh my god, are we live? Awesome.
Yeah, totally live. And I totally didn't remind you of the thing I had to remind you of, and that's my bad. But welcome to the show, everybody. It's Bobby's Cryptid Corner. It's absolute chaos around here today. So
No, you know what? Replay the video, and then we will sing in the background.
Oh, okay.
Are we
I
live?
did not waste hours
We are,
for
yeah.
nothing, at least.
Music is happening.
standing on the edge of forever.
Oh my gosh. No wonder.
And we
I'm
lost
in
Enzo, and we lost Wally's World.
No wonder.
Enzo again somehow.
I was like,
That's
people
it.
come
I
here
was in
for
the
the
other room.
intro.
I was in the other room thinking that you guys didn't start the episode. So I was like, go ahead and start. Go ahead and start. Because I was waiting for the music to come through my
Yeah. And then I clicked it and I was like, okay, it's only 20 seconds long, Bree.
Listen, you guys. This is
We're
all
here.
KARI's fault. Not really.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. We're so excited and happy to have you all here. This is Bobby's Cryptid Corner, where we talk about all things creepy, cryptid, paranormal, weird, folklore, mythological, all of it we cover here. And today we have the whole gang, which it's my favorite kind of episode because all five of us
Hail,
are here. As KARI said earlier, all 5 points of the pentagram.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Breeze
You
at the
want to do
bottom.
some shout outs?
Yeah, absolutely. Who's here, Bibby?
Hides in long grass has just showed up. It's about fucking time. That guy.
Well, he's not hiding very well.
No. Nightmare is here. Loyal Nightmare. Just like my real nightmares. So loyal and
Man, I
reoccurring.
can't believe that.
Wally's World 420, he's sparking one up. Ready to spark up Bobby's Cryptid Corner. And I think, honestly, Enzo's here, which is a great sign. But those are really the only early arrivers. We're a little short this week, guys.
I was like, they're
cryptid in your corner, Bobby. That's
They're
It's 'cause
confused
there's no intro.
because there's no intro.
right.
The intro
Listen, you
is
guys.
like the bat signal.
It was the
Yeah.
intro. It's just a quiet one. Oh my God, what a
A
fucking
quiet and short one.
Quiet
Alright,
and
that kinda-
short.
Let's
That
just
threw
get
me through a loop.
let's get straight into it, guys. Let's get into Baba Yaga, aka Grandmother Witch, aka the Slavic witch of your nightmares, who is supernatural. She is a witch from Slavic folklore who lives in a magical hut in a forest, neither helps, imprisons, or eats those she encounters. Her favorite being small children, though.
Who doesn't like to eat small children?
I agree. Tender
So
meat.
tender. Yeah.
We have the threat level here. This is the cryptid hazard meter, and this is a high risk. Do not engage, violent, and provoked. And mostly, you don't want to engage with her because you don't know whether or not she's going to help you. You know, make her your slave in her weird house, or like just let you go. So it's just better to not engage at all. Just ignore said witch in forest.
I just want to
Just
point
when
something
you
out
see
about
a
the cryptid hazard meter. This is all under the assumption pre-factor sci-fi. This is all under the assumption that these are real
Yes.
dangerous creatures in the world. And in
Absolutely.
this case, I keep wanting to say the baby Yaga. It's a Baba Yaga.
I did put babe in a couple of my texts on accident.
Yeah, maybe
And
that's what
why
it
I was
was.
like,
I was
babe
like,
Yaga. And I'm like,
What
no,
is
babe.
this
babe,
cryptid you
Baba.
guys chose? You guys, but this is actually a very pretty common
Heavy.
archetype of Slavic and Russian Eastern European folklore, and you will find a lot of overlap in fairy tale and story motifs that can be found in more traditional folklore that maybe people of Western Europe are more familiar with. So be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely.
So we got another witch this week, I guess is what we're going with.
Another one.
Another
So
one.
Baba Yaga is a supernatural being and or witch who appears as a deformed and or ferocious looking woman, often described as having red glowing eyes, teeth that are made of either sharpened stone or metal, always dressed in a cloak or dress, and she rides in her choice of mortar and pestle and flies around on it, although very low to the ground, not super high. And she lives in a magical hut on chicken legs. And for those who don't know what a mortar and pestle are, it's the thing that you like grind spices and stuff in.
It's pestle, not pestle.
Whatever.
I'm trying to find
Shut
Hides and Long
your-
Grass's Discord thing right now. I don't know how to use Discord because I'm a boomer.
Just check your DMs. Do you have any notifications?
Oh, I
around
found
them?
it. Oh,
Oh,
accept.
yeah.
All right. We're good. We're good. All
So
right,
she's a
sorry to
low
interrupt
rider.
my
The more
boomer
you know.
conundrums.
all good.
Low rider. All
Shit,
right, all right,
low
all
rider.
right. She lives
this
in
is
this
not-
magical hut, baby. Sorry, what?
That's what I refer to Pizza Hut as the hut, but this is not. This is not a
Oh.
hut of pizza.
It's
It's
not.
a hut of human bones. and a
Exactly.
witch.
Listen, I don't like Pizza Hut pizza, so it's not going to be a problem. For
I
me.
agree.
That's a weird.
PepsiCo is my poison of choice. PepsiCo products, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Well, did you know that PepsiCo owns
KFC?
Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC,
Yeah.
and they
That's why-
specifically own them because it was easier for them to buy those franchise than to compete with Coke and let Coke take over those businesses. There's like a deep
Hey,
lore.
baby.
I'm super into it.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know if
You
that's
saw
lore,
the
that's just
viral
business
video,
as
right?
Point
usual.
of privilege.
Saying it because he got really pissed off because he couldn't buy something at the store.
we have a point of privilege.
Yes, Bree.
I do. Point of privilege. If Pepsi owns Taco Bell and KFC, then why doesn't Taco Bell have any type of like chicken
food?
taco that's like fried chicken, like a fried, like little fried chicken?
I feel like they
chunks?
did try to do some.
They try sometimes, yeah.
Super group fusion from.
They
time
do
to
be
time.
trying it all. And you know, since KARI will be coming to the US, I'm gonna get KARI
Ooh,
a
KARI
gift card
tries
from
Taco Bell.
So yes, and it should be like an entire vlog just called
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
KARI tries Taco
Give
Bell.
KARI real Mexican food.
No, for
No.
sure.
We have
But
Taco
I
Bell in the
but
UK.
think about one person that's never had Taco Bell. Like to me, that's wild.
That's
I
wild.
haven't had Taco Bell.
I mean,
and it would be
not the
Taco
interesting.
Bell?
worst thing to be depraved of.
Taco Bell.
So I know people who have lived overseas and then have tried Taco Bell and then become addicted to it because they think it's so delicious.
I'm just saying maybe we could get a sponsorship going. That's all.
I agree.
All right.
I
So
agree.
we should
I'm
we
saying-
should definitely do a Jack in the Box taco and then Taco Bell tacos.
I have a friend in the UK that
You have Jack in the Box?
drives an hour and a half to eat at Taco Bell, which is one of the most objectively insane things I've ever heard.
That
in my
is
life.
Hold up.
ass.
Yeah,
a
there's
Taco
like
Bell here?
there's like one Taco Bell there somewhere. Yeah.
I'll have to
Literally
find
only
it.
one.
I need
yeah.
to like
Sorry,
go
sorry.
outside more.
You really do.
Yeah,
Even
I hear
we
you
know
there.
that you have a Taco Bell.
That's
All right, Bree.
crazy. I
So-
didn't know.
Bring it back.
Okay. Bring it back. Bring it back. Going back to the hut. So, Baba Yaga lives deep in the woods, but on the edge of the meadow. And the purpose is to guard from the other dimension, which is the forest, away from the living. So, the home is this hut, and it is surrounded by a fence of bones from our victims. And sometimes the top of the roof does have a rooster head, kind of giving the appearance, I would say, probably the symbolism, since it's chicken feet and a rooster's head, that it just like can get up and run around and do where it wants. So the foundation is the magical chicken feet that just relocate anywhere in the forest if need be. Great way to hide. So the lore goes that Baba Yaga's victims tend to find this hut, usually while lost in the woods. However, you are supposed to chant the words, "Dear hut, please turn your back to the forest and your front to me." They then can enter, and when they go inside, they see the nasty old lady with her bone leg and her nose that has grown through the roof, and she's usually draped over her stove, which reaches end to end into the hut. This is the stove or symbolism for all of the victims, children, or people that have wandered, being lost in the forest, into her home. And she cooks them up, she slices them, she dices them, and she eats them. Pretty good stuff right there. I mean, it's not a bad job.
Is is child murder and cooking and eating of children, is that like a preferred brand of
Hell
human
yeah.
meat? Seems like it is.
I mean, I
think
feel
that
like it would
is,
be really tender. People like to eat veal,
Mhm,
so I
Mhm.
feel like it could be similar.
Yeah.
I agree.
All that extra innocence makes it taste better.
Well, I
And
think
then,
that's
like,
the
adrenochrome in
adrenochrome. Yeah, you get them all
Okay.
scared first, and it releases.
Speaking
Yeah.
of which, no spoilers, but you should watch the new episode of Last of Us that came out on Sunday. Okay, I'm
I
done.
did.
I can't watch it till Corey gets
I
here.
did.
Oh, I haven't
I was-
seen it.
I
What's
was
the
like,
last
oh
of us?
my god,
It's an intense one.
that
Wow.
ending, bro.
All right, back to
Okay.
Baba Yaga. Don't spoil it.
Okay, back to the witch in the hut.
Yeah, Jesus.
Oh, okay. So I am just adding a little bit of where could this possibly come from, because I think when we look at this entire story, a lot of it has realistic roots, but then is also just symbolism, an overall archetype of a figure, and all of these things you can dive deep into, but of course it has some type of meaning to each of them. So this is kind of the possible reasoning for how the lore started off with this little hut house that she has. And Alexandra Barkova, who is a historian, you think I said that wrong? It sounded Russian
No.
to me.
I think we're just thirsty.
I
Just
think
haven't,
it's
haven't had
wrong.
one yet, so I figure why not.
Argues that the chicken feet reference comes from an ancient custom of burying someone of importance, usually a shaman, above ground. And this was common to the Makshas, who was a
There we
more
go.
deviant ethnic group in central Russia. And this was indeed how they buried their shamans. And usually, if you were buried above ground this way, it meant that you were someone of importance. Like if you were a medicine man or witch, you would be someone that they could then go and visit, give like offerings, praises to, more so than someone that you would put in the ground to bury. So it's almost like your higher class kind of thing. And in this case, if she's a witch, obviously more magical, that could, there could be some connection. And so Alexandra says an above the ground burial doesn't allow the spirit to depart from the land of the dead. So therefore the spirit is still there protecting the forest, still a part of the forest.
Huh.
And you can look at it and you see it, you're like, okay, yeah, for sure.
Chicken feet.
We'll call
Yeah.
it a chicken feet.
Yeah, everything you just said makes perfect sense.
Moksha is the term for release from samsara in Buddhism.
Really?
Yeah.
The return from samsara?
The release from samsara, which is the cyclical prison.
Well, then okay, but that also makes sense because I want to say that it also connects, I want to say Baba. I can't remember if it's Baba or Yaga, but one of those is a Sanskrit word that is basically connecting the same thing. So it could be the overall returning death, life, but then in this case, staying. I don't know. That's interesting.
I think you're going to start to see themes overall of Baba Yaga the more we dig into it, and it'll all start to fall into place, kind of.
Hells yeah.
All right, Bree, next one. Ooh, it's me. We have Russian grammar. Baba Yaga is first mentioned in a book on Russian grammar. We've talked about this before in previous, not this particular Russian grammar book, but like grammar books were a big thing written back then. This is in 1755, but it's thought to have existed in oral tradition of Slavic folk tales much earlier. Russian grammar was written by Maklavel V. Lomonosov, who was a Russian polymath, scientist, writer, and also a poet who influenced the formation of modern Russian literary language. Among his many discoveries, he discovered the atmosphere of Venus and the law of conservation of mass and chemical reactions. Baba Yaga is mentioned twice in his book. The second of the two mentions occurs within a list of Slavic gods being next to their presumed equivalents in Roman mythology. Baba Yaga, however, appears in a third section without an equivalence, highlighting her perceived uniqueness even in this first known version of it. So it's kind of showing that she's not a god or good or bad, but she is in her own category that's not even comparable to any of the other stuff that's out there.
Transcending
And
good and bad.
I just got to point it out now. I'm a big fan of whoever chose to do the Star Trek the Motion Picture font through
I
this
did.
entire slideshow.
I did. I was trying
I
to
like
bring a
that.
little pizzazz.
I caught that too. That's nice.
I liked it because it looked vaguely Russian.
Chekhov put this together.
Yeah.
Right.
It's called like Star Cruiser. or
Citrine.
something
No, it's called
like that.
Star Citrine is what it's called.
It's unfortunate he got ran over by his own Jeep.
Oh, Anton. Yeah. Yeah. That
All right, Brie, give us the next
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That was such a sad story, and I loved him.
Yeah.
He was
Did you
Charlie
check off?
Bartlett.
He was a good actor.
He was.
He was.
All right, so this is where we really get the backstory of Baba Yaga, and this is Levshin Vasily published a collection of fairy tales in 1780 called Russian Fairy Tales, and one of the tales in his book was called The Tale of Noble Zolzelheisen, a knight in the service of Prince Vladimir, which has Baba Yaga as the villain of the story, where she kidnaps a young maiden and the hero has to fight to kill her. But what's important about this story is that it tells where Baba Yaga came from. And it says that the first time we hear, or what happened was that the devil was trying to concoct the most pure essence of evil. So he cooked 12 of the most nasty women together in a cauldron and was trying to gather the essence. And he was like taking the steam off of the cauldron, kind of like in that one movie. What am I talking about, Brie? The one we like.
Hocus Pocus?
Hocus
or-
Pocus, yes, like Hocus Pocus, like trying to like take in the fumes of it. And then once he got it all into his mouth, the mixture ended up being like too hot for him. So he spit it on the ground. And that is how Baba Yaga was born, from the devil's spit of the souls of evil women.
Can
Okay,
you
that's-
imagine trying to
That's
do
about
that
right.
today
Gang
with
right there.
TikTok?
Exactly.
What?
What?
What the hell?
Trying to
what?
recreate that? Is that what you said?
Yeah, can you imagine trying to do that today with TikTok and social media? Like, I mean, there would be so many people who would qualify.
Yes, but it
What,
is
man?
strange to me that the devil would need something more evil. Like, so strange. Well, I mean,
And
in
apparently it's
traditional-
12. Apparently 12 women are more evil than the devil.
well, that number 12 is always
mean,
coming again. I mean, there's 12
it's a little
disciples. So,
high.
like, the number 12, yeah, I can understand that. Very interesting. Ooh. Okay.
Oh.
You gonna bring it back? I don't see it up.
There you do.
Ooh, there we go. Now it is. Okay. So in 1788, Dmitry Petlok-Gurvashkov wrote a comic opera titled Baba Yaga,
Good.
in which the villains...
Gorshakov.
There you go, Gorshakov. That's why Kari's here to help us. I just want people to drink. Wrote a comic opera titled Baba Yaga, which the villains of the story attempt to stop the star of the show from getting his inheritance. He seeks out the help of the love of his life and her grandma, who happens to be Baba Yaga. She has all the traditional quirks in the story: the hut with the chicken legs, the mortal and pestle, the initial threat to the star of the show, but ends up being a non-traditional dispenser of justice and punisher of vices. And the opera closes with Baba Yaga singing about a more peaceful filled future where people don't succumb to their vices and the reason to triumph with everything over passion.
Interesting.
What is okay.
I think what it's just showing is like that Baba Yaga can be not just a bad character, but like the flip side of it, that she can be someone who is trying to stop humanity from doing bad things instead of like just
we're
murdering
not
people.
trying to humanize Baba Yaga here, but this just seems, because there's a story here as well where you see, like, it's just not pure evil. You know, she's a very complex woman, as are most women. So I keep that in mind.
Well, it could even be like the devil in general. You know, there's
Or
stories
women.
really bad.
Women in general.
Or women.
And then there's also
They're
stories
like
of like
80% evil, like
different
20%
translation.
not as evil.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about that. I can understand it being both. Plus, people are often misunderstood.
Y'all are easy to live with until you're not.
Yeah, she's kind of low-key a social justice warrior. Kind of. She's very much like embasking like feminism. That's something that's kind of a theme throughout.
the evil
First
witch in
or
the
second wave
feminism.
Why do we always have to hate on women?
Hey, let's talk about some artistic representations of the old Baba Yaga. These are found on old like wooden. How did we describe it? Wooden chunks of wood, wooden plates.
Wooden chunks of wood.
Wooden chunks of wood.
They're like the Ten Commandments, but in wood form.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
some type of tablet.
There's all kinds of different scenarios in which they portray the Baba Yaga. This one I like to call Croc Battle, and it really is. In researching this particular one, it really is a Baba Yaga battling a crocodile. I guess there's
that looks like a fucking boar.
Crocodile man. There's a whole story behind that. We don't need to get into that, but she battles some crocodiles, and then next we have Baba Yaga in the
we're doing
wizard battle. This gives me like what's that woman's name? Madame Mim from the Arthurian legend vibes. That battles what's his name? Merlin. Do something.
I don't know the story. To be honest with you guys.
I was like, it looks very similar to the last one.
I was just going to say it looks literally just reverted and
with more color.
Yeah, that's true. And when I was uploading these images to the slideshow, I did like have to do a double take and be like, is this the same picture? But it's not. But wait till you see the next one. The next one looks even more like this one. But this is this is the Baba Yaga battling an old foe and some wizard with a beard. I love it.
Pretty awesome, man.
Love it.
It seems like an unfair fight to me.
And then lastly, we have Old Man Dance. And this is the Baba Yaga supposedly dancing with an old man for some reason. So Baba Yaga will batter crocodiles and battle wizards, but also take the time for some recreational dancing with old gentlemen of the village there, I guess.
So interesting, this red and green kind of theme that you're seeing in the thing that Baba Yaga's battling is always green and red through all three of these pictures.
Yeah, very interesting, huh? Almost like earthly but magical, or bloody but also earthy. It can be so many things.
It's very of this realm.
Of the realm.
World. Yes. But yeah, those are some pretty classic greatest hits of the Baba Yaga on Lubki, or Lubuk is another word I found for it. There's a
Lubkai.
Lubkai.
I don't know. I don't speak Russian.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one of the more popular fairy tales that involves the Baba Yaga is another one called Vasilisa the Beautiful, right?
When did you just say Vasilia?
Vasilia.
Vasilisa.
No, that's Vasilisa.
Yeah.
That's not Vasilia.
Oh, y'all drink 5 times.
Yeah, drink 5 times, guys.
I don't have a beverage.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the rundown of this story, and you guys tell me what it reminds you of in more conventional, traditional fairy tales. Okay.
I like this idea.
You like this idea, Bree? I think it's going to be pretty obvious as soon as I mention a few key words here. So the story of Vasilisa the Beautiful. Now, this was the single daughter. This was the single daughter of a merchant and his wife. And when the little girl was only the age of 8 years old, her mother tragically died. Okay. Are we getting warmer as to what this ties into, in my opinion?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Don't say it yet, because there's a lot of dead mothers in fairy tales. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, there is.
So when she was dying, she called Vasilisa to her bedside and gave her a tiny doll, a tiny talisman, if you will, a wooden doll that was one of a kind, with these explicit instructions of you've got to keep this thing secret. You got to keep it on you at all time. You can't let anyone see it. Not even Dad is allowed to see your special wooden doll that me, your dead mother, is giving you. Okay.
Creepy.
It's a gun. Okay.
And what it was meant to do, I interpret this as like, this is like kind of your dying parent saying, I'm going to live in your heart forever. Well, this woman's saying, I'm going to live in this doll forever. And but
creepy.
don't let Dad find out about me possessing
I'm gonna do that to Bree.
possessing this doll, I guess. I don't know. But the point is, whenever she needed help or needed to overcome evil or obstacles or needed advice or comfort, all she needed to do was offer her doll mom a little food and drink, and then she would respond in some helpful way, right? So Mom died, but you got the little wooden doll that apparently the essence of the mother has inhabited, is the way that I interpret that. But you got to feed the doll. It's like a gremlin, only a reverse gremlin. Don't feed it. You got to feed it to make shit happen, you know? So eventually the mourning period comes to a close, and Vasilisa's the beautiful's father decides to remarry. Now, Bree, I'm going to give you one guess. He chooses to marry a woman with 2 daughters from a previous marriage. And do you think that this woman, this stepmother, if you will, is any kind of great new maternal figure for poor Vasilisa?
Absolutely not. She's an abusive whore.
Yeah.
Okay, what do abusive whores make their stepdaughters do?
Clean.
Yes, they
Cook.
put her to work. They made her do all kinds of. They made her do all kinds of tasks, but with the help of her special doll. Okay, can we even say the doll? Maybe it's a stretch, but could we see the doll overlapping with maybe a fairy godmother thing going on here?
It's that maternal figure, right?
Or,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
Or, you know, a grandmother witch, if you will.
From the same archetype, I think. So these bitches would put Vasilisa to work all the time, but luckily she had the doll to help her do the tasks. Right, the doll helped out with sweeping with one of those brooms made of straw tied with a piece of rope on a stick, that kind of thing.
Weird.
So eventually Vasilisa gets a little older, a little more catching the eye of the young men in the surrounding villages, and they start giving the eye. But this rubs the stepmother the wrong way, because in the stepmother's mind, she believes that the older stepsisters should first be courted by men before they go after someone of Vasilisa's age, right? And there's a little jealousy there. But the problem is the stepdaughters, the daughters of the stepmother, the stepsisters, I guess is what you would call them. They're not. They're kind of beat. They're not in high demand, which is sad. And I think that's where they harness all their bitterness. It doesn't help if you're like unattractive and you're like not pleasant to be around. Like you gotta hedge your bets. You gotta at least have a personality, right? But no, not these broads.
Some jokes or something. God damn.
Yeah, get a sense of humor. Get good at certain things in the bedroom. You know what I mean?
Get good.
Juggling. Lots of juggling, like juggling.
So one time, the dad's still around this whole time, right? The dad's still around. He decides to go out in the town for some business, as dads will do.
Just dadding around.
Just doing dad shit. He's going to the fucking little league practice, coaching little league games.
I gotta go get some more screws from Target.
Yeah.
Target. He's going to the Home Depot.
Exactly.
That kind of
hardware.
He's doing dad errands.
I gotta get a Timmy.
Quick aside, if your dad goes on errands for an undisclosed period of time, he's doing those errands for maybe 20% of the time he's gone. If you guys
for sure.
that.
Yeah.
Definitely wants to be away from you.
Yeah.
I go to
100%.
I go to like a local like Longhorn chain steakhouse and just drink beer for hours sometimes at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Be like, I'm going to Home Depot, and you just sit and
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
And then
I got
my dad taught me this one. My dad said he taught me this. He's like, whenever I wanted to get away from you and you and your mother, I would go to a car wash and get two tall boys and just sit in the car wash and slam two tall
That's a
boys. And I'm
vibe.
not going to say
Wait.
I've never done that since he told
Hold
me.
on. Is that through one run? You go through the car wash one time and slam 2 tall boys? Or you just
Maybe
keep going around till you finish the 2?
I'm sure he's gone through twice before, to be
You'd have to
perfectly
just
honest.
shotgun that shit in the
It
car.
was like, had to be a real long car wash.
You know, people of our stature,
Feeling.
you got to slam beers to catch a buzz. So that's a
I
little
understand.
aside.
I understand. The
Again,
Bigfoot
when
folk,
dads
yeah.
go on errands, they're trying to get away from the fam for a little while. Not because they don't love you, just because it's like, dude,
Sometimes
you guys,
people just need a mental break. Yeah.
sometimes you got to sit in the car wash and drink beer.
It sounds so fucking
I
depressing.
do that when I go rock
I feel like
shopping
you
by
just healed
myself.
some childhood trauma.
How does that sound depressing? It's
That
not
sounds great.
depressing.
It's literally
I
life.
think it
It's
is.
liberating and beautifully honest.
Like, I
Kids,
promise
like,
you,
leave
there
me
was
alone.
moments where, like, your dad went out to his shed and smoked some weed, like, in the middle of something to not deal with any of us. 100%.
Dude,
that happened.
I took up carpentry.
JK, our dads weren't around.
Do you understand why men take up the
God damn it,
like,
Jamie. You really
things
just
that they
get
take
that
up?
Just kidding.
Like, men suddenly become like interested in woodworking out of nowhere.
That's exactly my example. It's not because I don't love my wife. It's just like sometimes you need to be in the garage for like 6 to 12 hours.
Wait,
Uncle
is
Joe and
this
his
why there's so
guns.
many like older middle-aged men in
Yes,
ufology?
guns.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, 100%.
All of a sudden, like, honey, I'm gonna look up some UFOs. I got a convention to go to.
Here's my
I'm
advice.
gonna go hang out with my
Here's my advice,
UFO friends.
If you want to get away with this for like forever and indefinitely, you have to be doing something that's productive, that's in some way contributes to the household, even if it is cooking a brisket, smoking a brisket, or like making a stew, or woodworking, building some planters for the backyard.
Yeah, you have
whatever.
to look.
You
You
can't just
productive or it gets
like lock
suspicious.
yourself in a room and play video games for 8 hours.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly. Okay.
Right.
No,
No,
for
This
sure.
is 6 years of. Okay, so let's get
Right.
back. That was a fun
Sure.
adventure we just
This
went on
good
there.
life advice, thank
Yes.
you, Bobby.
It's
Yeah.
much more advantageous if you spend 16 hours smoking a brisket and nobody likes it, and then you can just want to drive off a cliff.
Yeah.
One time on St. Patrick's
that.
Day, I smoked a corned beef. I smoked a
you
corned
did
beef on
not.
St. Patrick's Day, and what I realized after I did that is that I had just made pastrami. Okay, let's get back to the story here. The stunning second act, I guess.
Double the
Homeboy dad goes on some errands to build a fence or something, and the stepmother saw this as an opportunity to get rid of Vasilisa. Okay, so for whatever reason, while dad was at Home Depot, stepmom sold the house and moved everyone to a gloomy hut in the forest.
Oh,
Okay,
that bitch.
How long was he at Home Depot?
I don't know.
Long enough
Yeah,
for
they have
that
to
hut.
Like I'm going out
In the
for a pack
day,
of
it was like you
smokes.
went by horse. Yeah.
Yeah, long
Oh,
enough for
okay.
that hut
Like-
to grow chicken legs and walk around.
Right.
Mhm.
I like that objectively. The lore now is that the dad went to Home Depot.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just part of the story now.
Yes, it's part of
Okay.
it now.
So apparently a Baba Yaga lived in this area of this hut, whether it be
Mhm.
in the hut or around the hut, in the forest, in the hut. Okay. So not only would they try to overwork this young lady, they would actually send her out into the woods for various other errands. I'm assuming not Home Depot, because you might run into dad there and he's like,
Yeah,
where the
for
fuck,
sure.
where did everyone go?
Gathering
Um,
berries, killing foxes.
Yeah, doing all kinds of shit. But the intent here was the stepmother was hoping that the Baba Yaga would discover her and eat the poor little Vasilisa, right? And this keeps the stepmother's hands clean, and ultimately allows for men to maybe prefer her daughters. I don't know. It's all very weird, old world. thought process here. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're sending my stepdaughter out to the woods to get eaten by a witch. All right. So aside from all that, she kept going out there. She kept doing the work, all with the help of the little wooden doll, all that stuff. Remained alive, never got caught by the old Baba Yaga. But one night before bed, they told her to go out and put out all the fires except for a single candle. And then her older daughter put out the candle as instructed by her mother, whereupon the stepmother's bodily forced, this is from Wikipedia, by the way, Basilissa out of the house and demanded that she go fetch light from the Baba Yaga's hut. So the Baba Yaga has a hut. It's like the neighbor, right? It's like the evil. Okay. So the doll is a lot of times represents her intuition. The doll said, yeah, go ahead and do it. I'll protect you. I'm a wooden doll, whatever. So she's walking away. She sees a mysterious man ride by before the dawn. He's dressed in white, riding a white horse, equipment all in white.
Shit.
Then a few hours later, she sees another rider, and that rider's in red. And after she saw the riders, she stood at a house on chicken legs. She found a house that was on chicken legs and walled by a fence of human bones. Okay. And then she sees a black rider, like the white and red rider that had rode past her, and the night fell. So the riders apparently represent the passing of time, I guess, like the day, like in film editing you'll do like a dissolve to represent the passage of time. And this is basically the dissolve riders of Russia or whatever. The black rider represents night in this case. Okay, so night falls, whereupon the eye sockets of the skulls began to glow like lanterns. She was too frightened to run away, and so the Baba Yaga found her, and she arrived in her giant flying mortar, which is one of those things you make guacamole out of, I guess. Right? Are we
Yes.
everyone else
Yeah.
paying attention here of this fucking
Yeah.
lunacy? Okay. So the Baba Yaga captures the girl and says, you got to perform these tasks to earn the fire or you're going to be killed. She was to clean the house. She knows how to do that. We know that. She was to wash the Baba Yaga's laundry. So every female figure in this girl's life, aside from her dead mother, is just putting this poor girl to work. Like everyone
She hates women.
She has to cook a meal for her, enough for a dozen, because Baba Yaga is a bigger woman and she likes to party, mouth party. She's
Dozen
also
again. There you go.
required-
Number 12. Sorry.
She was also. What'd you just say?
I said there you go. Another number 12.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, totally. She's also required to separate grains of rotten corn. It's like when Van Halen had their we only want brown M&Ms in the chalice backstage or whatever. Separating poppy seeds, grains of soil. So the Baba Yaga left the hut for the day and left her there to do all this long laundry list of work. Literally and figuratively, a laundry list. When all hope of completing the tasks seemed lost, because there was a daunting laundry list of tasks, the doll whispered, hey, I'll help you complete the tasks. And you go to sleep. So the doll, apparently the magic doll, completed all the tasks, right? Are we still here? Okay.
Might as well do something. I'd be like, what else are you doing, bitch?
Yeah, for sure.
At dawn, we see a white rider pass. Again, the riders seem to just represent the passage of time. Dawn, white, okay. Black rider rode past. Baba Yaga returned and could complain of nothing. She fucking hit it out of the park with her list of to-dos.
Snaps for Vicisalia.
What's that?
I said snaps for Vicisalia. Whatever her name is. Valisalissa.
Yes. So then the Baba Yaga asked her if she had any questions. I don't know how we segue to that, but that's the story. All right. She was like, all right, you did all the work. You got any questions for me? And they asked about the rider's identity. The white one was day. The red one was sun. The black one was night. So you got morning, noon, and night, basically.
Gotcha.
And then when asked about did I talk about the disembodied hands?
No.
Okay. So Baba Yaga comes back with 3 pairs of disembodied hands to squeeze to seize the corn to squeeze the oil from it. I guess she's using disembodied hands so she doesn't hurt her own hands to squeeze corn, right? Makes sense to me. So Vasilius thought to ask about the disembodied hands. The doll quivered in her pocket, and she realized that the doll was quivering as a way to say, "Do not ask about the disembodied hands." And she told Baba Yaga she had no further questions, Your Honor. And in return, Baba Yaga inquired as to cause of Vasilia's success. On hearing the answer, by my mother's blessing, Baba Yaga, who wanted nobody with any kind of blessing in her presence, so she's protected by something supernatural. Baba Yaga's not that, and cast her out of the house and sent her home with a skull full of burning coals to provide light for her awful stepmother and stepsisters.
Oh wow!
Damn.
This. Any questions so far?
No, pretty straightforward.
Okay. I'm glad I haven't lost anyone in the chat yet.
No, actually, you have a standing ovation.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're following right along.
This is the stunning conclusion of where it gets fucking wild. Okay.
Oh, okay. Does it really get wow?
So remember, since sending her out on the task, her stepsisters and stepmother had been unable to light any candles in their home. Even the lamps, candles that might have been brought in from the outside were useless. And they were done. They were done ski. If you ever burn out a candle, it's hard to bring that shit back. So the coals brought in by the skull lantern burned Vasilius' stepmother and stepsister to ashes. And Vasilius buried the skull according to its instructions, so no person would ever be harmed by it. So basically, she brought back a flaming lantern skull and murdered her stepmother and stepsisters with fire, I guess.
Thanks, Baba Yaga.
And here's the happily ever after. She eventually became an assistant cloth maker in Russia's capital city, where she became skilled at her work. And the Tsar himself noticed her skill and later married Vasilius.
Wow, the Tsar.
The weird Russian fairy tale. There's all kinds of different interpretations of female subordination and I don't know. What was the other? There was another kind of interesting. Hold on. Something about the in common with many folklorists to this day. Alexander Afanasyev regarded many tales as primitive ways of viewing nature, and such an interpretation regarded the fairy tale as depicting a conflict between sunlight, which is Vasilius, the storm, which is her stepmother, and the dark clouds, her stepsister. So all these things are going on at the same time. The light, dark, and sun, or whatever. So it's a very interesting fairy tale that I don't know what to make of. Any thoughts on that?
Oh shit, man!
Round of applause to Bobby for saying all of those words.
Yeah, that was a lot of
wow.
words, my friend. Good job.
I thought it'd be more fun to do that rather than just read it word for word.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm feeling for Vasilius. Vaselina. I'm gonna call her Vaselina.
We still don't know
how do you say it? How do you say it, Bree?
No? Vaselina. Drink, I'm busy.
Vaselina.
So I have to ask you, Bree. Enzo kind of just gave it away, but what more traditional Western fairy tale does this remind you of?
Hey, I said it in the very beginning, my friend. I said Cinderella.
Well, and
absolutely.
What's interesting about that is some of the other stories we're going to talk about here too, you'll start to hear kind of like threads of it. But what ended up happening is this guy who wrote this fairy tale wrote multiple fairy tales. The next one that we're going to talk about, he wrote as well. And it ended up really being the inspiration for the Brothers Grimm, and all of their stories was his original Russian fairy tales. And so that's I think why you see Baba Yaga seeped so deeply into our version of fairy tales we have today, because the original versions, which are like to us are the Brothers Grimm, really come from this stuff.
Yeah, I think it is rooted. It's rooted in a lot of ways from those, into that.
I'm waiting for our pop culture, our media, to redo fairy tales in the way that in the Brothers Grimm's way, or even like going way back to like the
And
Norse
you know who
mythology.
should do it? Jordan Peele.
Me. No.
Well,
What?
because I mean, how many times do they have to remake a story that we already know? They don't change anything. So why don't they tell the darker versions? Could you imagine everything that Bobby just told us if that was in a movie? Like that would be fucking outrageous.
Phenomenal.
I
And
think
the
I've
ending would
suggested
be
this
like
before.
such a
we need
scene,
to do a whole episode just on like the true fairy tales. Like the
Oh
true-
yeah, we could for sure.
I've
That
got
would be a
the
series.
entire Brothers Grimm grimoire. I've got every single
Grimoire.
story.
I think that
So,
would be a really good
like,
series for us
You're like
to do.
back to sci-fi, Rumpelstiltskin. You're like,
And I'm like, thanks. Okay.
Speaking of Jerry
Alexander.
Springer, this next episode, bring up my thing, Bree. So, one more back.
oh, this is all me.
No, we missed
This?
it right here. So Alexander Ashenvashev as Tony, or as Bibby said in the last one, he wrote this. This was inside a book entitled Russian Fairy Tales. So this is kind of a wild story. It's a story of a kid named Ivan who was born to a merchant and his wife. The wife dies shortly after childbirth. Ringing any bells from the last one? So Ivan, it's just the roles are kind of reversed in this one. Ivan is left in the care of a tutor while his father goes out and remarries and works. The stepmother ends up falling madly in love with Ivan. How creepy, right? And one day, Ivan and his tutor went out to sea to fish and saw a boat. And on the boat was the Maiden Tsar, which is basically just word for Russian princess. And her foster sisters were on board. Huh?
Zarina.
Oh, Zarina, there we go. Where was I? The Maiden Tsar and her foster sisters were on board, and seeing Ivan and the tutor floating on a raft, dropped anchor and invited them onto the ship. The Maiden Tsar said that she was in love with Ivan and wanted to marry him, to which Ivan immediately agreed. The Maiden Tsar asked him to return the next day, and then left. So Ivan goes home and tells his dad and his stepmom about this, and the stepmom obviously gets very upset because she's madly in love with him and doesn't want him to go anywhere. And so she tells the tutor to put a pin inside of Ivan's tunic to prick him. So when it pricked him, he would fall asleep and that he couldn't wake up. And so the guy did this for like days at a time. Eventually, the Maiden Tsar realizes what's going on and writes like a note to Ivan, and Ivan ends up reading it and ends up killing his tutor and then going off to go find her. And like, okay, I'm going to go on this quest to go find her kingdom. And this is where Baba Yaga enters the chat. This is like where her big moment is. And so Ivan ends up stumbling upon a hut on chicken feet, and Baba Yaga lives there, and asked her if she knew the way to the kingdom to go find the princess. Baba Yaga said she did not know the way, but told him to visit her sister. So this is kind of like the first time we're getting an iteration of like Baba Yaga being more than one thing. This time she kind of has sisters, so there's like multiples of her. So she says, I don't know, you should go ask my sister. So Ivan goes and finds the next sister, and that sister is like, I also don't know. Why don't you go ask my youngest sister and see if she knows what's going on? But before you go over there, I need to tell you that you need to beg her to let you blow her 3 horns, because if you not, she will eat you. She will literally come and like cannibalize you.
That's what I tell all the ladies.
Yeah. So,
blow my 3 horns.
So Ivan reached the young sister's home and begged her to let him blow the 3 horns. And so he did. And then upon blowing the 3 horns, a firebird came and took Ivan away from the sister cannibal and flew him to the kingdom where the princess was. But that's like not where the journey stops, although it stops for Baba Yaga. This poor guy Ivan ends up having to like go through a lot of drama. The like princess's heart gets stolen, and he has to like go on an adventure to go find her heart. And then at the end of the story, he gives the princess back her heart, and then they get married and end up living happily ever after together.
And she blows his horn.
And she blows his horn, and that's exactly what it is. So this is just another story of Baba Yaga where, although the first 2 Baba Yagas were not like bad. The third youngest Baba Yaga's sister was the one who was the weird cannibal. But this is just another iteration of like you have all these different versions of this character, not good nor bad, but kind of toting this line somewhere in between it all.
Word.
Bree, you got to come
Whoa.
back because you got to do the next slide. You left us.
Sorry, I think that would also be another good movie. The Three Horns.
There we go.
This is my
Sorry.
slide.
My bye.
The birdies are my slide.
Yeah, this is you. Go for it, Tony.
Okay, so there's something called Baba Yaga's black geese, also known as cobra chickens. If you've never been close to a goose, you wouldn't understand that. Baba Yaga's black geese steal children for Baba Yaga to eat. Sad, so sad.
Ripe.
So in this story,
Okay.
Alana, who is this little girl who has a little brother, right? Her parents tell her, Alana, we're going to the market today. Stay in the house while we are away and look after your baby brother, for Baba Yaga's black geese who steal children have been seen flying over the village. When we
Horrifying.
come home, we'll give you some sugar buns.
Whose sugar buns are we giving them?
To the little kitties.
Like the little honey buns you buy at the gas station.
Right.
Nickel chicken. Yeah.
So they
I don't-
also acted as a to bridge the gap between these two things that I put, because I read the entire story. So this little girl, Alana, she goes out, she goes and plays with her friends, and after her parents are like, don't go outside, don't take your brother outside, just stay inside until we get back because Baba Yaga's geese are flying overhead. She completely ignores it and goes out, and obviously her brother is abducted by these geese. Weirdest animal to be abducted by, but
Love it.
Yeah.
abducted by geese.
Rename the
And-
podcast. That one time was abducted by geese.
I love that.
Toddy wow.
That would be
Wow.
Mick West.
Yeah.
That would be Mick West podcast.
Yeah. And so she's playing with her friends and everything, and then she comes back and she's looking for her brother, and her brother's gone. And she's like, "Oh my god, my brother's gone!" And then she starts running out into the woods, and she finds
Grandmother's house.
she finds a lake, and in the lake is a fish that is stuck on the surface, breathing air. Like, I think it's like flopped onto the shore.
It's a lungfish.
Right. And the fish goes, Alana, if you help me, I'll help you. So she throws
I don't
the
like
fish
the sound
back
of
in the
that.
water.
Yeah, tit for tat.
Yep. And the fish dives down to the bottom, comes back up, and somehow through physics we don't understand, throws her a shell and says, if you're ever in trouble, throw this over your left shoulder. And so she takes it, she puts it in her pocket, and she keeps running, right? And then she runs into a squirrel.
Squirrel.
Of course she does.
Yeah, of course
Very
she does.
Disney princess of her,
What
yeah.
the fuck is squirrel doing?
Sounds about right.
Right. And the squirrel is caught up in a trap, and the squirrel's like, Alana, if you help me, I will help you. So she frees the squirrel.
She's like, that squirrel can talk.
Yeah, like, why does the squirrel talk? The squirrel
Smoke and water ski.
The squirrel
Yes, sir.
grabs a walnut, throws it back to her, says, if you are ever in danger, throw this over your left shoulder. And she's like, okay, I don't know why I'm saving all these forest animals because my brother is about to be eaten by a witch, but here I go.
Global warming. God.
Continues to run
this-
on. What's up?
I was going to say this sounds very almost like a Snow White character.
Yeah, very
Getting
Snow White.
real close to it,
Oh.
right?
Are there dwarves in this story?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Whoa.
little people, as we call them now?
Hansel and Gretel is also another one that was very influenced by Baba Yaga.
So the next thing, she's running, she's looking for her little brother, and she runs across a mouse who
Aw.
a rock
Can also talk.
fell. Yes, it absolutely can talk. A rock fell in front of its hole for its little mouse hole, and it says, "Alana, can you please help me?" Why do
Oh,
all
God.
these animals know her fucking name? Don't know.
I just got to point out too the real name of Honey Boo Boo is Alana. So maybe this is inspiring the Honey Boo Boo saga.
I think she is Russian.
So
I think
What's
she's
this
Honey
little
Boo Boo?
this
Nerd.
little mouse is like, "Alana, can you help me? I can't reach my home because this pebble rock fell in front of my home." And so she's just this pure-hearted person who has helped a fish for some reason.
These animals are terrible at being animals.
They're really bad.
Yeah, they're really
Yes.
bad at it.
Absolutely.
Pre-global warming. This
Oh
is
my
what
God,
we could have. We don't have
Or
it.
No,
that story
no, it
about the
wasn't.
mouse and the
Artificial.
lion, where the mouse takes the prick out of the lion's paw. That's another story that could be kind of like this one.
Mhm.
Oh shit! I don't even remember the original. To be honest, you unlocked a memory, but that was the only part.
So she moves the rock, and the mouse goes into the mouse hole and pulls out a pebble and says, "If you're in danger, pull out this pebble and throw it over your left shoulder," just like the other two before the mouse. And
Is this why
then
we threw salt?
Yeah,
Over
over
the-
your left shoulder.
And
Yeah.
can I just say, I just love the idea of someone coming to the stream late and walking in on Tony explaining this story and being like,
Because I'm forgetting every animal. The longer
no, it's just like
this
out of
fucking goes on.
context with no frame of reference. This is some of the most insane things I've ever heard come out of your mouth. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes. I usually speak in
That's a lot.
normalcy.
It
But-
does say a lot.
I don't think so, Tony. You don't have to say all that.
Yeah.
Ready?
Please continue.
Yeah. Please keep going, Tony. I'm intrigued. We're learning so much.
So we have a fish or whatever and a mouse. Squirrel and a mouse. Shut up, Bree. I swear to
Squirrel.
fucking God.
A squirrel.
Really try-
I swear.
I scroll
But
to God.
so she ends up, Alana ends up at the house of Baba Yaga where her brother is, and so Baba Yaga is knocked out cold. She's sleeping. She's got a pot boiling for
Mm.
Alana's brother
Ooh.
that is going to be thrown into the pot because she eats
Snack.
children,
Yeah.
right? So she's going to have some Alana brother soup, and
Extra adrenochrome.
Alana gets in there. She grabs her brother and she starts to move out. She's heading out away. She's escaping. But the black geese, who for some reason, geese are roosting on the top of a house.
What
Never
the heck?
seen geese do that before.
Yeah, don't they just go?
They just go, "Meh," or they're cobra chickens and they go,
Tony's a wildlife expert.
Yeah.
I don't like them
Sorry.
putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' goose black.
Turn the goddamn frogs.
That's my
gay.
geese.
Man, do you know how hard it was? I literally spent 2 hours today trying to find pictures of black geese. They don't fucking exist. I
been 2
I had to
hours now?
resort to gifts to make black geese because I was like,
They are in gift form. Ask the chat bot, the whatever it's called.
Chat
Geese are
GPT.
wild, y'all. Don't go out there just
Yeah.
feeding them shit either. They will bite you in the leg and you'll be
Give me
sorry.
a black goose. Check GPT.
That's what they say about me.
Yeah, black geese, they don't exist.
true.
I've searched high and low
Why they got to be black?
because that's. I will drive to fucking Houston and slap you in your fucking face.
That's
Oh
not
my
where I live, but all right.
And then we'll have a beer.
I-
But
All right.
Reminder, everybody, hit that like button and leave a comment.
Yeah, this is an awesome episode.
Back to the two fucking frogs, gay.
I mean, we've poured it out to at least an hour now. So
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I was being serious.
Okay.
She grabs her brother, she escapes, she runs away. The geese that are for some reason black start clapping their wings and honking and everything, which
Yeah.
wakes
Got
up
me.
Baba Yaga.
Disgusting animals.
Baba Yaga
Huh?
takes chase, and she's running after Alana, and Alana remembers that the fish told her that
Jesus Christ.
the fish would give her this shell, and if she threw it over her left shoulder, that she would be like, if she was in danger, she could throw it over her left shoulder, right? So she throws it over her left shoulder, and a lake appears. This is literally the story. A lake
Magic.
appears.
Oh, I believe you.
God said,
And
let there be lake.
Baba Yaga can't go around the lake, so she drinks the entire lake. Because we're currently on the point of common sense.
Yes.
She drinks the entire lake
Okay.
and then starts running back at Alana. And then Alana remembers, well, I saved a squirrel. And the squirrel said, if you're in danger, throw this walnut over your left shoulder.
Oh, here we
So
go
she-
again.
She throws the walnut over her left shoulder. And then, boom, a
This is
forest
a
of walnut trees appears. And Baba Yaga starts eating through these walnut trees. And I'm not joking. This is how the story goes.
Is that it?
This is the story of a girl.
How the story goes. So she eats all the walnut trees and is right behind Alana. Teeth gnashing right at the back of the neck. She can feel Baba Yaga's breath on the back of her neck. And then she remembers, well, I have a pebble from the mouse.
Oh.
So she throws the pebble over her left shoulder, and a giant mountain appears
Mm-hmm.
that Baba Yaga cannot eat and cannot go around. So she's safe. And she goes home and gets her honey buns.
Oh my God.
This is a real story. I
Wait,
encourage
was that the end?
That's the end. I encourage everybody who heard
What are we supposed to gather from any of that?
nothing.
I guess to help forest animals, like
They
realistically.
just like it's like they just said things back then. It's like I'm just
Yeah.
gonna talk about thing, and it's more entertaining than like plowing the fields or whatever.
Okay, but I mean, it's a very.
Like, gather around for a story about a woman that helps a mouse and gets attacked by black geese.
But
children,
I
This
encourage
is
everybody to
Disney
read.
Plus of the time.
Yeah, I had to
Oh, I
read
would.
this whole story, and I encourage everybody else to read it because
I've just heard the best version of it I've ever heard. We're not gonna.
no,
We're not gonna
there's
stop
no better
that.
version of it. But
I
if
agree.
you've
Nice
never
animals.
looked it up, I highly suggest you look it up and you'll come to the same conclusion that I came to.
I love Heights
Bewilderment
and Log Grass
and
comment right
enchantment.
now. That's genius. Imagine that coming home. You see, you don't understand. This is what happened.
Yeah, she was just
What
twisting balls
happened
the whole time.
was
So what happened was
And the funniest thing
damn.
is, like, she got home with her brother and nothing actually happened outside of her experience. And she just like, that's no different than a babysitter got high off of fucking acid and was just like,
Want to know a funny story? One time, my mom was babysitting these people's house, and she brought her friends, and they happened to get into the weed of the people that she was babysitting, and she had babysat for this family like for a really long time. And then her friends started going fucking crazy, so crazy that they ended up having to call 911. He went into the hospital, and he was in the hospital for days.
oh my god,
Ended up
bad
being
trip.
that the weed was laced with PCP. So she had to tell
That'll
she
do
would
it.
tell the parents, like, so thing is, at the hospital, kind of stole your weed. Someone kind of is in the hospital because, like, I guess it's PCP.
I guess it's
Awkward.
PCP.
So be careful. Don't just go
Awkward.
taking people's shit, you know?
Oh yeah, there's more of a concise lesson learned from that story than the black geese of the mouse
I'm
lady,
just like,
the
that is
lungfish.
just
Craziness.
to be a babysitter and have to deal with that and then tell the parents. And obviously, like, it's their fault. I mean, do they really just smoke the PCP and hang out with the kid all day? Who knows? But
Just casually has PCP laying around.
lacing it with the weed, like, that to me is just fucking crazy. But yeah. On to the next, yeah.
On to the next.
Oh, this is a story about a girl. I feel like this ties in everything. I'm actually gonna take this down.
Good.
Or you guys can. Okay, yeah, thank you. It's a little bit longer than that.
There's something to make all this go.
But this is a story about a young girl who, just like Bobby's story and a little bit of Tony's story as well, she had a papa who had with the first marriage. She dies. He remarries, and the stepmom is an abusive, mean woman. And she's a very young girl. So one day, the husband, again, goes away, Home Depot. She's on like a nice long trip to Home Depot. So the stepmom takes this as her opportunity to put the girl through the ringer. So she basically tries to set her up. She tells her to go to her aunt and find a needle and thread so she can make her a shift, like a dress. So the girl goes to the aunt and is like, "Hi, auntie." And the auntie's like, "Hi, sweetheart." And so she tells her, like, "Mom sent me here." Mom, stepmom, evil mom. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this. She beats her. She
Bitch
beats her a lot.
Deborah told me to come.
Ooh, always abusive.
She's like an evil, like very abusive stepmom. So the girl was already really worried about the whole situation with her dad being gone. So she goes to the aunt, tells her that she needs a needle and thread to make the shift, and the auntie tells her very specific instructions. She says, "There is a birch tree so big it would hit you in the eye. Put a ribbon around it. There are doors that will creak and bang. You must pour oil on the hinges. There are dogs that will tear you to pieces. You must throw them rolls. There is a cat which would scratch your eyes out. You must give it a piece of bacon." So the girl's like, "All right, what the fuck?" Okay, so she goes on her mission, and sure enough, following the directions, she does come across this hut, and that is the home of Baba Yaga. So just to like reverse, the stepmom is leading her to Baba Yaga. Like, this is a plan.
Very
she, like,
similar
trying
to
to exactly. She's trying to set her up, like get this bitch, get her. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes across Baba Yaga's hut. And she goes to Baba Yaga and she's like, hello, Auntie. So I guess this is the other aunt. And she's like, good morning, my dear. So like Baba Yaga is like pretending to be her other aunt, basically. Or maybe she really is her other aunt. Who knows? Because I mean, evil, it could be. So she just tells her, you know, I've been sent here to find a needle and thread to make a shift. And Baba Yaga is like, okay, we'll sit down and weave in the meantime. So the little girl sits down, she starts weaving, and Baba Yaga could hear, the girl could hear Baba Yaga say to her servant, her handmaid, the girl that sat there, make her a bath, heat her a bath, get my niece washed, and mind you, make her look sharp. I want to breakfast off her.
Ooh.
So I believe that's saying like wash her up, make her nice and clean because I'm gonna eat her for breakfast. That's what I imagine is her translation.
What is with these people eating children?
So the little girl could hear her saying that though, and so she's like scared shitless. And so she's like, okay, and she could hear the servant, the handmaid lady saying, oh dear, please wet the firewood instead of making it burn and fetch some water for a bath. And so she is basically telling her, like, I'm just going to make you a nice warm bath. You know, it's nothing, even though the little girl heard her say, like, she's making you a bath so she can prepare you to eat you.
Yeah. Why is it a pot of boiling water?
Why is there potatoes in here?
But it's hot.
Yeah. Why are there tender carrots in here?
Celery and carrots and onions.
Oh, shit.
She's like, oh, these are some bath salts. And it's like garlic powder.
So this little girl, she's like inside the hut. But Baba Yaga and the handmaiden are like outside because the handmaiden is trying to get the bath. And then Baba Yaga is outside, like going through the forest, you know, her little garden, trying to like get all the good herbs, you know, spice it up. There's an onion, throw some onion in there, shit like that. So she can yell to her through the window. And she's like, are you weaving, niece? Are you weaving, my dear? And the niece said, yes, auntie, I'm weaving, even though she's not. So as the niece turns away, she goes to the cat and she's like, here's some bacon. Is there any way I can escape out of here? So the cat tells her, here's a comb for you and a towel. Take them and be off. Baba Yaga will pursue you, but you must lay your ear on the ground. When you hear that she is close to hand, first of all, throw down the towel. It will become a wide river. Again, throw back to Tony's river. And if Baba Yaga gets across the river, she will try to catch you. So you must lay your ear on the ground again. And when you hear that she is close at hand, throw down the comb. It will become so dense, it will be a forest that she won't be able to get through.
So similar.
So the girl took the towel and the comb and she's like, okay, so the dogs would have rent her. That's a weird translation. I think that meant that the dogs would have gone after her, but she did throw the dogs the rolls, so they let her go. And then when she got to the doors, they began to bang, so she poured oil on the hinges. So they let her pass. The birch tree would have poked her eyes out, but since she tied the ribbon around it, they let her pass. So the cat sat down to the loom. I have no idea what that means.
Sat down to the loom. The loom is where she was doing her needling and threading. Yeah.
Yeah. So the cat went back. Baba Yaga, like, yells out to the window, are you weaving, niece? Are you weaving, my dear? And then but the cat, like, I'm weaving. I'm weaving. And so Baba Yaga knew that was not her niece, came running in the hut, was like, where'd she go? And then, of course, the cat's sitting there like, meow, with the bacon. So she grabs the cat and starts like beating the hell out of the cat and was like, you're supposed to scratch her eyes out. And the cat's like, as long as I have served you, you have given me nothing but bones. This girl gave me bacon. So she was pissed. She was like, the fuck? Threw it. So then she goes over to the dogs. Yeah, she goes over to the dogs, to the birch, to the door. She's like going to everyone, like, where are all you guys? You guys are all supposed to work in tandem with the magic and keep this girl inside. She goes like around to like abuse them all. But then when she gets to the dogs, they're like, as long as we've served you, you've never so much as pinched but a little burnt crust off of your roll. She gave us a whole one to eat. She goes to the door, and they said, as long as we've served you, you've never even poured a drop of water on our hinges. She poured oil on us. And then the birch tree said, as long as I have served you, you have never tried a single thread around me, but she fastened a ribbon around me. And the servant said, as long as I have served you, you have never given me so much as a rag. She gave me a handkerchief. So you can see where this is going. She abused everyone, expected them to help her keep this poor woman entrapped, the poor little girl, and she treated everyone nicely. So they're like, yeah, go. Rooting for you. So Baba Yaga, still remember, she's bony. She eats a lot of kids, but for some reason she's bony. And we see that a lot with all of these, like, whether it's cryptids or any type of folklore where they're like constantly like feeding off of people. It's like that weird starvation link where they're just so ravenous, but it's never actually like feeding them. So Baba Yaga's still like, she's like
Wendigos and
yeah, she's like, listen, I'm pale, I'm weak, I'm bony, but I'm trying. She's trying to fly with her little pestle. But she's like going through all the trees, like the fuck on her little broom. Like, I need to get this girl. So the girl puts her ear to the ground, like she was told from the cat, and she heard Baba Yaga coming. So of course she threw down the towel, which became wide like a river, and Baba Yaga was not able to come up. So then she this is like exactly like Tony's. Baba Yaga was trying to swim through it, and so since she couldn't, she decided to drink the whole damn thing. So she drank every drop of the river, but then the little girl flung the comb, and it instantly grew the forest, the very thick forest. And Baba Yaga grew giant ass teeth to try to gnaw away at the forest to get through. She's really chomping away. But no matter how hard she worked, she could not get through the forest in time. So little girl comes running home, and as fate would put it, the same time that she's coming home, her dad is also walking up like, where have you been? Like, I was looking for you. I just went to Home Depot. And she's like, Dad. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And she tells him, she tells him the story, and he believed her. He actually believed her. Thank God. The stepmom tried to create a story, but in the look of the little girl's eyes and everything that she had gone through, the father believed her. And because the wife literally tried to send her to Baba Yaga to be eaten while he was gone, he kicked that bitch to the curb where she belongs. And now she's just there with Papa.
Papa, I like egos.
So lots of the same symbolisms. Lots of it, honestly.
Much of the same story, but I feel like that's what's happening throughout all these stories. Like, you're seeing hints of all of these different kind of laying things. It's like this one time where we have this cohesiveness with a cryptid that we don't tend to have with all these other cryptids. It's like these stories are so vastly different and all over the place, and these ones are just have a thread of so much similarity inside of all of them.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to see that not only do all of the stories, which are outrageous, really, really old fairy tale-ish stories, are so out there and crossover, but then we look at like our modern day fairy tales and we're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see this one thing represents this and represents that. As a child, when you're watching these stories, these movies like Cinderella or Snow White, whatever, you're not thinking of it from a deeper level. You're only looking at what you see, which is just like a poor girl. And then she gets fancy things. She finds her Prince Charming, and that's the end. But there are those little symbolism, like the little symbolic placements there. And when you go down into the rabbit hole of what those are, I mean, it really opens pretty wide to this extravagant, exceeding storyline, fantasy, folklore, could be tied in with, realistic energies, so to say. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I would say that this is another series of cautionary tales, but as opposed to having one singular tale to keep it fresh, almost, it's like, well, we got to put this character in like another cautionary tale. It's like this archetype that keeps coming up with these like vaguely similar characteristics of the Baba Yaga, but don't go out in the woods because XYZ story 1, 2, 3. There's an old lady there that wants to eat you.
But yeah, and obviously the old lady, because she has ties with the devil, and in other stories they surmise that it could ultimately just revert back to like evil itself, like devil evil itself. It could be the temptation, if you wanted to, take it in some sorts, that
Sure.
don't go to the Baba. It could be temptation, the dark side of forces. It's interesting that there are animals in particular that seem to help these young children or whoever is trying to like make their way through Baba Yaga. And that is also obviously in our modern day fairy tales, our Disney versions, still held on to the animals being aids and helping. And I think we know that animals are pretty much innocent, but it's interesting to think of like, what is that? Is that like a supernatural force, like representing something supernatural or something magical, something like the good side that is really behind you, trying to help you get.
Well, I think when we talk about people being raised by wolves or being raised by whatever, that should probably be like an entire episode, something that we all
feral children.
I watched a documentary recently about someone that claimed to be raised by wolves, and it turned out it was all fake.
Really?
There are instances where it is fake, but there are also instances where it is real. And I think if we look at it from, I just think it's something that we should kind of look into, because there's the relationship between humans and animals is incredibly complex.
Absolutely. They're innocent. I think I even told Kari yesterday, I was like, I give animals, I have so much more.
Bree, dolphins rape each other.
They do. It's true.
Please don't project.
You have no idea if that is
onto
consensual or not. Okay, we're not gonna have. Okay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs.
Bugs. Thank you.
What the
Sorry.
fuck did you make that?
I just love that song. Turn the fucking frogs gay.
Sick of this crap.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. There's just a lot of layers to it all.
There is.
I kind of feel like Baba Yaga is encompassing a lot of things. It seems like, what would you say, a motif?
It's
Obviously,
almost
an
like what,
archetype.
Motif is
it's almost in the same way that something like Beowulf inspired like kind of the hero's journey kind of stuff, only more from this is to that as it is to like maybe the archetype of the witch in the woods or something like that. I don't know, even though there is a witch in Beowulf, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Literally,
It started it all. The Baba Yaga started it all.
That's interesting
So,
thing that I'm glad that
we-
you mentioned that. Let's remember that. Baba Yaga, I think, probably predates most of the Witch and the Wood stories.
Oh, absolutely.
Would you agree?
So are we ready to?
Yeah, let's
No.
get into the next one.
So Baba Yaga in the pop culture. So we have several different instances all across different mediums. So on
What?
your far left, you see Baba Yaga in The Witcher in the Netflix story.
Oh,
Mm.
shit.
That's that the
Shit.
little blonde one in the middle.
Son,
I
oh,
didn't
yeah, it is.
realize that.
Mm-hmm.
So we
I love
have
The
The
Witcher, I have to
Witcher, we have Dragon Ball, we have Hellboy, and then we have, of course, what everybody wants to emulate, Baba Yaga, the boogeyman.
Okay, but why?
John Wick.
No, wait. Okay, you're telling me
Wick.
that Bob Wick.
Baba Yaga?
He should have been Bob Wick for Baba Yaga. Bob.
Nobody's calling John Wick Bob Wick.
I
South
like
Wick.
it. I like it. Are you really okay? Did you make this up? I need
No.
to know.
No, this is
No, it's
for
100%
realsies.
real. So John
How
Wick is
John
called
Wick?
because like that's like
He's
the
a
thing.
super assassin.
Yeah,
So they
so
they're liking
Learn
him
shit
to
about
the
Super Assassin.
they're liking him to the lore of her, and that's
yeah,
why.
but Baba Yaga being the boogeyman.
The boogeyman.
The
Mhm.
person who steals your children, the bump in the night.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
That is
It
the
is
Baba
a
Yaga.
bit of a stretch here.
No, that's
Please.
literally
that
that's
is
literally
the Russian
exactly.
lore.
Yeah, it was written just like that. That's like the people came out who wrote it and said that it was based in that.
Wait, so is Baba Yaga a
He's not
revenge
that great.
story?
In the case of John Wick, yes,
Yeah.
and that's why they liken the character to Baba Yaga, because again, Baba Yaga is more that middle ground. Is it that Baba Yaga is the bad guy, or is it that Baba Yaga is serving justice?
Yeah,
right.
it's
and
like
it's something
blowing
that's
Bree's
to be
mind over here.
feared.
yeah.
No, you're
And
not.
then-
I just
and
still
then-
think it's a stretch. I'm still
No.
like, I've seen this
So-
movie a million times. Also, writers can just add shit to make it seem credible. So, like, I'm
No. So that's
thinking about
not
the
what
movies
happened
I've
here.
seen a million
Baba
times.
Yaga?
Like,
That's
okay.
not what happened with the John Wick story. So that's what happened with the Witcher story, which is the weird, creepy scratch skin thing you see to the left of John Wick. That is like this weird witchy person who ate children and stuff, and that story is attributed to Baba Yaga. And then you have Baba, which is the little cartoon creature to the right of John Wick, which has been a part of the entire Dragon Ball series from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and the weird shit they're
Infinity and
doing.
Beyond.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Don't
Isn't there a new movie coming out?
stop.
No?
Stop. No.
Nerds.
It's
Man.
not real unless Akira
It's not?
Toriyama is behind it.
I heard that. Okay.
And then there's a lot of Russian influence with Baba Yaga stories because Baba Yaga is a Russian folklore.
Wait, who's the lady? Who's that old lady?
That's Baba Yaga, or which one? The one in the middle, or the one on the right and the left?
It's the
Just the
same.
only lady that's on there. The
That's
It's
the
real
the
Witcher
same.
lady. That's the Witcher
Yeah.
lady.
It's not a monster.
Oh, I thought you said that this one, that all the way to the left was the Witcher one.
No.
No.
So the one with the gray hair is from
This
The Witcher.
here.
The one,
Who's this?
the weird that.
So that
is
one
from
right there is from
Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's Hellboy, The Witcher, there's Dragon Ball, there is
John Wick.
John Wick. It's spread throughout every single type of culture that you could imagine. It could be spread throughout, but it's all horrible.
Oh. Okay. Movie
All right.
recommendations.
We're getting into the best part.
I'm gonna play
is
the
this
little
Bobby's?
footage. Can we-
Bobby's movie recommendation.
Now
Yeah.
we're on a bit of a folklore kick lately. Not necessarily
shit. This looks
conventional
fun.
cryptid. But I wanted to kind of take this isn't a Baba Yaga movie. We just kind of mentioned a couple there. And there actually is a movie called Baba Yaga. It's like a giallo film, an Italian film from the 70s. I haven't seen it, so I can't really recommend it. But there's one from 2018 from Sweden called Border. And it's honestly like probably at least my top 3 favorite movies of that year. And it
Really?
is about a very unattractive woman to the point where you think like maybe she's part animal. But
sure.
she's hired as a customs officer in a Swedish ferry port, basically, and she has the ability to actually smell fear and guilt. So what better job for a customs officer?
I've heard about
what better
this.
skill? And basically, she's just very disenfranchised with humanity. She doesn't understand her place in the world. She's not particularly sought after in any kind of relationship loving kind of way because she seems to be like part animal. But then one day she meets somebody that's just like her. They form a bond. It's this really bizarre thriller love story. I don't want to give away what these things
Give
are,
it away.
but there's definitely some there's some similarities to some of the things we've been talking about lately. The Giallo Joe 5D is called Baba Yaga, but this I haven't seen that. But yeah, Border is like it's not a horror movie. It's just like a really fucking good movie, and it's very weird and very bizarre, and very recommended from me, Bobby.
I have a question. Does this not, like the picture, the still of it, does it not look like it's almost a part of the music video for Fall Out Boy, that one song where it's like the half deer person and it's all dark? Right?
That's
That's a
after my
good one.
time.
Oh,
sorry.
Lord. Bobby, if you don't know the answer to this question, I think we should start to add that so we know, because some of these things I'm like, I want to see that, but like, where
Oh,
can
yeah,
I watch
where?
it from? Is there somewhere I can stream this? Do you know? That's easy for me?
I'm like my default is Amazon, so I'm assuming it's there. I don't
Gotcha.
think it's on Netflix. I'm not sure.
Amazon.
Good website for that is called justwatch.com, and you can just type in any movie and I'll tell you where it's streaming. Or
Oh
where-
shit! Okay, we
Here
need
we
to know
go.
this. Okay, just watch.com.
I'll look it up right
HBO
now.
Max. No, we got it. HBO Max, says Enzo.
Yeah.
Now
Our
with
human
Watch
computer
Border
in the
if you
chat.
wanted just like a really weird, heartfelt,
Heartfelt.
crazy movie from Sweden.
Is it in Swedish?
I believe, yeah, you got to read some subtitles, but
Dubbed
there's not a lot of
and shit.
dialogue in it either.
Okay.
I like
All right,
so-
guys, we are here. We are at the end of the show where we talk about fact or sci-fiing it. I'm going to go first because I like to go first because I like to be the star. I just want to say that here's what I'm going to do. I fact Baba Yaga in the sense that I believe that there was originally something out there that protected the forest, some being or creature. And I think that all the stories and iterations are, as always, our human context mixing and jumbling it up and like adding all these dramatic things to it. So the exact iteration of what we think Baba Yaga is today, this evil, horrible witch, is not what the original thing was. So I'm facting a full 10. The original Baba Yaga, not necessarily the iterations that we have her of today, but the idea of her.
I want to probably say that I don't want to give this a full sci-fi, but I definitely am not going to lean on the fact side. I'm going to do a middle bitch,
Middle bitch sci-fi.
Mostly because I just like I think this is a fictional character from folklore and all that, but I also just like the complexity of the Baba Yaga and the various layers and dimension of this archetype. It's not just this black and white evil or good thing. It has a lot of humanity, and it has a lot of clearly a lot of influence into other folklores of different regions, and up to today we obviously see it in pop culture. So it is a real character in the zeitgeist, and because of that, mixed with the fact that it is a complex, it's not a melodramatic character, I want to give it a middle bitch.
Love that. All right, Tony.
Well, I will say, this is one of those things where it's a story. And when we talk about Germanic stories, we talk about like either you go out and die or just the German stories are extremely violent and everything. I think it's a cautionary tale. I think it's something that a lot of people should know about. Do I think there's a witch living in a hut with 3 hen legs that are moving around? No. I think it's just a way to discipline kids.
Caution kids, cautionary tale.
Yeah, cautionary tale 100% of the way.
So what are you giving it?
This is the dichotomy I have with doing a fact or fiction with these kind of things, because I think it's fact because they created a story to keep their children safe, but fiction because they made up a story
Right.
to keep the children safe, right?
So what are you giving it, Tony?
That's a very postmodern answer, Tony.
It is. I'm being.
I give it a number.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay, so middle bitch it.
A little bit more than a middle bitch. We like that.
All
I'm
right,
not gonna lie. I want pizza now. Everyone keeps saying Pizza Hut. Like
I
I'm
know.
in.
A hut.
Nobody's
Pizza
saying
Hut,
it.
a Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and a Pizza Hut. All right, Kari, what about
Pretty real
you?
about Pizza Hut.
I think it was a fairy tale invented to scare children, so I don't. I'm gonna go with
You
the
missed
sci-fi
it.
on that.
Boo.
All right, Bree.
Boo. I'm
I
gonna
missed
fact
it.
it off of the
Yes.
same excuse that Jamie did. I think that my colleagues, although I do respect them tremendously and they are very intelligent, I will say that I think that the overall focus here is a little bit missed, that we are representing an energy, a force that cannot be reckoned with. And it is something that has started from the beginning of time and still continues to this day. It is a solid archetype, whether or not we give it the name of the witch, the hut, whatever you have it, the solid four corners of this story has held on from the beginning of time. And it really, I mean, this still happens. We still have this type of person that's doing this kind of thing.
It's the crone.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which
Yet
is
another
so
crone.
I added that
Great.
to our last episode, which is like we have our three, right? We have the maiden, the witch, and the crone.
So Bree, let's put our fucking mouths. Well, you know what? How about
Let's not put our mouths anywhere.
Let's keep our mouths to ourselves.
Let's restart that sentence.
absolutely
My mouth to me and my
How
glass.
about-
finger.
we, when we're all together,
Mm-hmm.
take a Ouija board?
Ooh,
And
yes.
have an orgy. I mean, I'm sorry, what?
No,
What?
we're not doing that.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm just kidding.
How about
But if
we
you're
take an
serious,
How about we take a Ouija board?
Whether
throw
it's a Ouija
down-
board or a orgy, I will just be behind the camera. That's
perfect, Bibby. You can narrate it with your sexy voice. He laid his hand upon her buttocks.
Oh my god, we know Bobby would hit that with the XX zoom too. We'd be like really like widen on the pores and then the mouth,
he
the mouth
can't
expressions.
believe
Like,
it.
I want to talk more about Ouija. I was thinking more of the Ouija direction, but
All right,
How
all
about,
right, guys.
how about we throw a Ouija board, throw a planchette on it, and just see what happens
I agree.
bring it. Bring
Where
it.
can we find you,
Tequila?
Jamie?
A little bit of weed.
while we're all together? Let's do it.
All right, guys.
Yeah, we can
is there
take a
any,
trip to the desert.
is there
the
any
other
final
desert.
thoughts that anybody has before we get out of here?
No, nobody cares.
Only that if you want to see us in person, go to Contact in the Desert. Where can we
For
find
sure.
you, Jamie?
Nowhere. Don't find me on the internet. I am your internet friend on YouTube and Discord and nowhere else.
Right on.
She's a liar. Actually, you can find her on Twitter at Toddy-Waba. Let's be real.
I don't really.
wow.
She's a
I
fucking
didn't
liar.
do
I don't really spam tweet at all. Yeah.
I didn't do
Only
it.
see your tweets.
I only tweet when
Just
I'm on
we're
drugs.
clear who
so-
it is, okay?
All right, Bibby.
What are you, Bobby Yaga?
Yeah, I'm not really on Twitter much, but you can follow me at Pinball Bobby. I'm more of an IG boomer. Go to Instagram.
Oh Lord.
More my scene over there. And then Not For Everyone podcast is my show about weird cult horror movies with highly inappropriate banter and comedy. So
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like this one. Okay.
All right, Tony.
I cuss out Gen Z pretty much every day. They're stupid. They're fucking.
They're
dumb.
not. You're fucking dumb. Okay, sorry. What?
Oh my god!
Dad's been drinking again before we let him finish this.
Where
So
can we
let's
find
just,
you, Bobby?
Keep that in mind. He loves all of us. He's just had a rough day.
The next
At
time I
Bot
let a 20-year-old tell me how the fucking world works, when I've been around the world and they've barely been through college, yeah, okay, that's
Bree,
cute.
where can we find you?
You can find me at Matt Spree on Twitter. If I reply, I'm trying. I'm really busy, but I'm gonna try to come on more. So hit me up.
All right, and Kari, the Enigma.
You can find me at Fires of Truth on the Twitteroo, or you can find me here or in the chat at Truth Seekers or Invisible Night School. Subscribe to those channels. Fight me.
Or
And that's about
chat
it.
GPT. Wait, hold on.
But his shit's
find-
locked.
What do you mean you can? What do you mean when you say we can find you at?
In the chat on one of the shows going.
Okay. Okay.
That's where I hang
Gotcha.
out.
Being vague.
Yeah, you have to
vague as
clarify
well. I'm
because it
saying-
looks like you would be
I'm
a
saying
part of that
specifically
channel.
where I'm going to be. That's not vague.
All right. Goodbye,
gotta go to bed.
everyone. We love you guys.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye.